Yeah. Good morning, guys. Welcome to MGM IT Training Institute for functional testing classes. And so, as part of functional testing, so far we have covered HDLC models and different technical terms we have used. And what are the things that we have covered in last class? The difference between the QA and QC and QA, right? Sorry, QE, right? So these are
QE.
we
Yes,
have
sir.
covered, right? So today onwards, I will go through our main concepts of testing. Okay, let me share whiteboard also. So now we will go through our main classes. Okay, so we will discuss more on system testing only. Now, once whatever we are concept that we are going to cover, that is on more on system testing because we are clear, right? So we have to discuss more than system testing. So all the testers will comes under black box testers. Means all functional testers, automation testers, performance testers, all different types of testers will come for under only black box testers only, right? So let's
Yes,
focus
sir.
on black
Yes,
box
sir.
testing, which is also called as system testing. Okay, this is the main phase where we fall under this. Okay, one second. So let's focus only on black box testing, which is also called as system testing. This is the
System
main
testing.
phase where we will fall under this, where we means QA, okay, testers, okay. So here
Mm.
manual testers, when what manual tester responsibilities are, they will first understand the requirement. So how we will understand the describe the quality of test cases. Okay, so it's depend how we write the test is the way how we are understand the requirements that describes the quality of the test cases. So if you well understand the requirements clearly, then you can create a good test cases, and those test cases will able to find more bugs. That is the more responsible job for testers, means finding more and more defects. So the base is we need to understand clearly the requirements, and then we write the test cases. So in order to write the test case means what we have to get clear understanding of requirements. So the more we understand the more requirements, the best we can give the best test cases. So based on the best test cases, we can get more and more defects. Okay. So what is test cases means? It is, as I said, it is a step-by-step action we need to perform on the application. Okay. So what is test case means? It's a step-by-step action that we need to perform on the application. And also we need to verify the actual output and expected output based on the customer requirements. So on the last class I have said, right, so for to write any test cases, what are the pre-requirements that we need to mention is uh, test case number, test case description, test case, test data, expected result, sure, result now. Okay. What are the things that we need to mention is so what are the things that we consider while writing the test cases is test case number, test case description, test case. Okay. Sorry, it's not test case, it is
Mm.
test step. Okay. Test step. Okay. Test data. This is okay. This is a date, not date, it's a data. Okay. Expected result and actual result. So what is test case means? Test case means it's a step-by-step action that we need to perform on the application. And also we need to verify the actual output and expected output based on the customer
Mm.
requirement. So while writing the test cases, we'll write the expected result. Okay, if I write enter the login name, then what is the expected result is login name should be displayed. Okay, if the actual results also while testing, we have to write the actual result. Okay, actual result. Okay, if you enter login page, login name, then we have the expected is login name should be displayed. The expected actual result also if it is coming same like actual login name is displayed, then we can say the test case is passed. Otherwise, if both are mismatching, if both we are getting mismatched, then we say is a bug or defect. Okay. So once
Yes.
writing test cases is done, we will start executing this. Okay. Once writing the test case is done, we will start executing test cases and find the defect and report to the developer. And also we need to participate in the review meeting. So these activities
Yes.
will be done by the testing engineers only. Okay. So if you are doing automation, then you have
Yes, sir.
to additionally writing code and executing them and prepare report for all the failed ones. Okay. And then prepare status report to the manager. But
Yes.
so these are the different activities involved during the system testing. Okay. So what are the activities that involved during the system testing is that is planning for cases, cases written. Okay, execution of test cases, report generation, and review meeting. Okay, these are the few things that we need to consider while doing system testing. Okay, so and as a test engineer, we'll do lot of testings here. So here different types of testings like so those testings will be again like two categories like functional testing and non-functional testing. Okay, one is functional and the other is non-functional. Okay. So functional testing means we will do like system testing, cookies testing, links testing, okay, DB testing, etc. Okay, we have different types of functional testing. What are those? Are like system testing, cookies testing, okay, links testing, okay, DB testing, etc. Okay, these are different things. These are all comes under the functional testing. Okay, what are the things that comes under links, uh, DB testing,
DB.
okay, system testing, cookies, you know about cookies. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Coming to non-functional is performance, security, etc. These types. Okay. So functional testing means we'll do like system testing, cookies testing, links testing, okay, DB testing. Okay, these are the different examples. Okay, so these are all comes under the functional testing. Okay, security testing, performance testing, stress testing, load testing. Okay, recovery testing will comes under the non-functional testing. Okay, so okay, so as a system testing, we'll do lot of testings. Okay, we are right now our classes and we are so concentrating on the system testing only. So as system testing, we will do lot of testings. Okay, it will take lot of time. And before performing any testing, we should thoroughly understand the requirements. Okay, based on the requirements, we will prepare the test cases, and then the main activity of testers is to find more and more defects in a software application, right? So as soon as we find the defects,
Yes.
we need to report and assign to the developers. So once the developer fixes the defects, we need to verify and again we need to close the defect. Okay. So how this raising tickets to developer and all, we'll discuss more on the practicals. Okay. When we start with the Jira. Okay. So we need to verify and the
Yes.
close. So now we'll discuss about the test design techniques. Okay. We'll discuss more on the test design techniques. Are you clear, right? You know,
Yes. Yes, sir.
design.
Technique.
Yeah. One second. sorry. So tested as a technique, this is very, very important one. And also in many interviews, this concept will come. Okay. Like what are test design techniques? Okay, used at the time of writing test cases. Okay, that's what the important role of test engineer in writing the test cases. Okay, you will get minimum few questions. Okay, in the interview as well as also in the ISTPQ exam. Okay, this is very important one. Okay, if you don't understand also, please interrupt me in the middle. Okay.
Yes.
So test case means it is a step-by-step process to be performed on the application, right? So for
Yes.
example, if we want to test a login page, then how to write the test cases for the login page is first step. Say, okay, uh, let's consider this is a login page. Okay,
Login page.
login page. Okay, if we go and this is the URL page. This is URL.
Yes.
Okay, and this is username we are entering. This is username field, and this is password field, and this is submit button. Okay, like the resume like that. Okay,
Yes.
this is URL. URL means something like this is HTTPS. Okay, on www.somebank.com. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is username right here. Username. And this is
Password.
password. And this is login button.
Submit button.
కనిపించట్లేదు దేనిమైనా కనిపించట్లేదు కింద రాస్తాను.
Yeah.
Okay, submit button. Okay, let's say this is the login page. Okay, so in order to write the test cases for this login page, okay, what the first step is? So we need to first, the first step is enter URL. That is first step. Okay, and the next is enter
Password.
username. Username enter చేయగా. Enter, next step is
Password.
password. And next step is submit button. Okay, these are the 4 steps for this login page. Okay, first step is what the first step is enter URL, and once you enter a URL, the next step is enter username, and the next step is password, and next step is click on submit button. Okay, and the next step is to check whether, so after submitting, then and the next step is verify whether home page is displaying or not. Okay, okay, so in okay or not, so these are the steps sequential manner. Okay, these are the steps we need to write in the sequential manner, means step by step, one by one. So we have to write this, and it is called as a test case. Okay, so test cases means it's a step by step process, okay, which we need to write in the sequential manner. Okay, well, we have to write this, and this is called a test case. So the main job of tester is to writing a test cases. Okay, the main job of a tester is in writing a test cases. But at the time of writing test cases, and few scenarios and few areas, we need to use certain techniques. Okay, these are the direct thing, right? So that's why you are writing direct. But okay, and few areas we need certain techniques to design the tested. Okay, so simply you are looking like this. Now you will write simply username, password. But in some cases where you need some data, okay, so you need some, we have to test with some data. So here, let's say example, username have some data, like data means username is expecting only 5 characters. 5 characters only. Username is expecting some 5 characters. Okay, like Suri or okay, Nava, something like that. Okay, so we need to consider how to write these 4 characters. Okay, while preparing the test data. Okay, so let me give you some examples there here. When we need to use kind of techniques. Okay, so I have text field. Okay, text field like this. Okay, so like, so it want to check whether this text field, I need to enter username. So as per my requirement, I need to enter username between minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters only. Okay, minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters. This is my requirement for entering the user name. Okay, that's my requirement. And I can enter here the lowercase letters from A to Z. Okay, so this is my requirement. Okay, the minimum character is 4 and maximum characters is 8. Okay, and that too I need to enter only in the lowercase, right? You know, small a, small b, we will call, right? So we need to enter the lowercase letters. So this is my requirement. So in this username text box, I can add minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters. Okay, this is called, we can call it as a range. Okay,
Yeah.
we can call it as a range. What is my range of this is minimum 4 characters and max
8 characters.
8 characters. Okay, this is my requirement, and this is the range. Okay,
Yeah.
and it accepts only lowercase letters. Okay, it accepts only lowercase letters. So this is called as value. Okay, what is my value is lowercase letters A to Z only. Okay, so in this username text box, I can add minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters. Okay, this is called, we can call it as a range, right? And it accepts only lowercase letters.
Yes.
Okay, small a to small z, that is, we can call it as a value. Okay,
Value.
and based on this requirement, I need to prepare some test data to test this kind of scenarios. Okay, based on this requirement, I need to prepare some test data to test this kind of scenario. Okay, now if you want to test this, how many kinds of inputs required normally? Okay, so in order to test only this scenario, okay, range is 4 to 8 characters and value is lowercase letters. Okay, now if you want to test this kind of data, how many kinds of inputs are required? Okay, normally. Okay, means suppose let's take a range here. Okay, let's take a range here. What is the range is? Minimum 4 characters and maximum 8 characters, right? So if we test with 4, our test case should pass. Okay, or if we test with 8 characters, our test case should pass. Okay, and also we need to check with invalid scenarios. Suppose invalid scenarios means we are working beyond the requirements. Okay, we have to mainly work on the invalid scenarios only. Suppose if I given less than 4, okay, if I given range is less than 4, let's say 3 characters I have given. So that is like 3, 2, or 1. Okay, and if suppose if I give more than 8, like 9, 10, 11, 12, 100, something like, then our test case should fail, because in order to test this, we need to test all possible inputs. Okay, in order to pass this, we have to test the combination between 4 and 8 only. Okay, less than 4 or greater than 8, if we give like, the test case should fail. So writing the test data also, we need to consider all these things. Okay, so if this test level label is small, okay, if this is small, right, it's okay. But if it is large, means we cannot test all kinds, right? So if it is like it is accepted 100 characters and 1000 characters, then how we will test? It will take lot of test cases. We need to test 99, 100, okay, 50, 40, and be above 1000 also we need to test, right? So in that case, it is very difficult to test, right?
Yes.
So we cannot test all the kinds of inputs like this. But if we don't test all these tests, okay, okay. So if we don't test all these, our test cases cannot be completed, right? So what we need to do is to reduce our testing, and we need to use minimal test data, which will cover our complete application scenarios. That's how we need to prepare the test data. So to prepare test data, to prepare that kind of test data, we need to follow certain techniques in testing. Okay, we need to follow certain techniques in testing. Okay, so before knowing about the test design techniques, this is high level of understanding why we are using test design techniques. Okay, so in order to test any possible kind of testing, okay, while preparing the data set, okay, so we need to consider both valid scenarios also with invalid scenarios. Okay, here valid scenarios means The range is 4 to 8 characters and value is lower case A to Z, right? These are valid. Invalid means beyond be less than 4 characters or beyond more than 8 characters, or if we give uppercase letters and numbers. Okay, these are things that we need to consider for invalid scenarios. Okay, while preparing this type of test data, we need to use some test design techniques. Okay, as I said, if it is less numbers, right? So that's why we are using simply, okay, less than 4, 3, 2, 1, and above 8 means 9, 10, so and so. Okay, it is an lowercase letters, right? This is a small scenario, that's why we can write. But if we take it as a higher characters and the more values if we required, like numbers, okay, alphabets or alphabets, then
Some kind of special character.
right, some kind of special character, then it is difficult to mention, right?
Yes.
So, for this purpose, we use some techniques. Okay. Now let's see what are the techniques we use during testing. Okay. Yeah, I'm erasing it. Okay. So now we'll discuss few test design techniques. Okay. Now, so why the testing sorry. So why test design techniques are useful to reduce the useful means to reduce the test data, which will cover maximum testing. So the main intention of applying these test design techniques is
Reduce the test data.
To reduce the test data, and we need to cover maximum testing, right? So we need to test completely, should cover all the kinds of scenarios with minimal data, and we cannot test with huge data sets, right? So it's lengthy process and takes lot of time. So to reduce the data, should cover each and everything like positive and negative aspects. Okay, that is the reason we apply test design techniques. Okay, so now let us see what are the different test design techniques. So here we have few, like the first thing is BC, sorry, BVA. What is BVA means? Boundary value is equivalent partitions. Differentiation. Okay, next is yes. Okay. మీ అబ్బాయికి ఇప్పుడే పాప బాబా so these are the test design techniques mainly we'll use. Okay, so what are those things is BVA, boundary. What is BVA means? Boundary value analysis. Okay, ECP means equivalence class partition. Next is decision table. Okay, basic testing. Okay, and the next is state transition, and the next final one is error addressing. Okay, these are all the few techniques we have, and if you are going for certification courses, okay, these are all we got it. Okay, lot of questions on these techniques only. Okay, lot of means minimum you'll get 2 to 4. Okay, so we will go with examples with each technique, so that you can get better example. Okay, so sorry, better understanding. Okay, let's begin with the boundary value analysis, BVA. So what is this BVA means? So BVA is based on testing at the boundaries between partitions. Okay, so in our example, we'll see BVA, and ECP. These are the combinations of examples we'll see. Okay, let's take a previous example. Okay, which is your name field. Okay, so as I said earlier, this accepts only 4 to 8 characters. Okay, which accept only 4 to 8 characters. Okay, minimum is 4 characters and maximum is 8 characters, and it accepts only lowercase letters A to Z. Okay, so let's take up this example of username test label. So how to prepare test data using these two for this label, we'll see. Okay, so as I said earlier, that this accepts only 4 to 8 characters only, and with lowercase letters with A to Z. Now, what is BVA means? It will talk about the range. BVA will talk about the range. Yeah. BVA talks about the range. Okay, here what is the range is? What is the range? So BVA is called range, and what is the range? What is our requirement? What is the range?
4 to 8 characters.
Okay, 4 to 8 characters. Okay, that is our range. Okay, means range of verification means what is the minimum and what is the maximum. We'll talk about the range only. What is the minimum characters and what is the maximum characters. Okay, we'll talk about the range only. And ECP will talk about the value. Okay, ECP talks about the value. What is here value?
A to Z lower cases.
Sorry.
A to Z lower cases.
A to
Z lower cases.
lowercase only. So, and ECP will talk about the value. What exactly is allowing the value? It will check. So, BVA is a range check and ECP is a value check. Okay. Now, see the example for BVA. As per my requirement, it is saying 4 to 8 characters are eligible. So, BVA techniques divide the boundaries like okay, this is one boundary and this is another boundary. Boundary means the corner, edge cases. Okay, edge side. Okay, here minimum is 4 characters and maximum is 8 characters. And this is the boundary. Okay, beyond this, whatever I have written, those are invalid. Within the boundary, whatever I am preparing, that is the valid cases. Okay, so what is the minimum is 4 and maximum is 8. So in BVA, we'll take 6 parameters totally. Okay, what is 6 parameters is, so if we cover our 6 parameters, okay, I will tell about 6 parameters. Okay, if we cover the 6 parameters, the whole testing is completed. We no need to test with other inputs. Okay, what are the 6 parameters that we'll see now? 4, we can test with 4. Suppose if we want to test this completely, okay, that we can say it's a positive of testing. Okay, one second. Okay, suppose we want to test this completely, we can say it as a positive of testing. So what are the inputs we are giving here is 4 characters, 5 characters, 6 characters, 7 characters, and 8 characters. Okay, 5, 6, 7. Okay, okay, 5, and this is 6, and this is 7. Okay, so these are all valid characters, right? So other than this 4 to 8, rest of them are invalid. But there are n number of characters we have other than these 4. So we cannot test all these, right? So like if we go with 3, 2, sorry, 2, 1. If we consider these things, and here also 9, 10, 11, so also. Okay, these are invalid. So okay, we cannot test all the invalid scenarios. So like before 4 characters we cannot test, and after we cannot test and after 8 characters. So we instead of covering all the numbers, all the sets of data, we can reduce the data. Oh, the data. Only we can test the boundaries. So for example, this is minimum and this is maximum, right? So if we want to cover this range, we need to take 6 parameters. One is, so what are the 6 parameters? Now we'll see. One is minimum. Okay, if I said minimum means that it should pass. That's our expectation. Okay, and if we enter maximum number of characters, then it is also pass. The next is maximum. Okay, it should also pass. And now at the boundary level, if we take 2 parameters, let's say 4 minus 1, this is called minimum minus 1, right? Minimum minus 1. This should fail. Next is maximum plus 1. Okay, this should also fail. Okay, if I say 3, it is expected is fail. And here minimum plus 1. Okay,
Yeah.
let's say, okay, I will write this letter. Minimum plus 1. Minimum plus 1 means 4 plus 1 man. How much? It is 5, right? That is expected only. Means expected. Okay, more 5 means pass. Okay, if we cover these 3 parameters, okay, that is enough. Now let's go to the maximum plus 1, which is 8 plus 1. So 9 is fail. Expected is fail. Like 10, 11, 12, etc. Also fail. And also similarly test with 8 minus 1. Okay. Maximum minus 1. Maximum is 8. And what is 8 minus 1? 7, which is a valid. 8 minus 1. Less than 8. So it is should pass. So we need to cover only boundaries like minimum plus 1, maximum plus 1, minimum minus 1, minimum plus 1, maximum minus 1. That's why we have to test. So this is called BVA. Also we can call it as a range. Okay. Now let's see one more example is number of fields. Okay, let's take okay, the minimum characters is 100, maximum characters 1000. Okay, and it's also expecting A to Z. So here how we will test for this scenario. So we need to cover boundaries values. Okay, 100, 1000, 100 minus 1, 100 plus 1, 1000 minus 1, 1000 plus 1. All right. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So here minimum is 100. We need to test the minimum. Maximum is 1000 that we need to test, and minimum minus 1. Okay, 100 minus 1 is 99 that we need to test, and maximum, sorry, minimum plus 1 means 100 plus 1 that we need to test, and maximum minus 1. 1000 minus 1, 999 that we need to test. Okay. Sorry. Here I forgot one more 6, right? But chapter 6 and not 6 are done, right? Okay. So if we consider these 6 parameters while preparing any type of test data for this fields, okay, we need to consider these 6 parameters for boundary value analysis, means which talks about the range. Okay, so for here is minimum 100 and maximum is 1000. So BVA will mainly focusing on range or boundaries of data. But coming to ECP, okay, but coming to ECP will verify actual value of the data. Okay, coming to ECP talks about the values. Okay, here, here my value is A to Z. Okay, here is the username label field with the same requirements like minimum 4 and maximum 8 and allows only lowercase letters. So for the same thing, I use it to prepare data based on these two techniques, BVA and ECP. Okay, for ECP, we'll divide the data like this, like little, okay, need to consider like this, valid and invalid. As per my requirement, what is valid data is small a to z. Okay, and invalid is and caps uppercase A to Z. Okay, 0 to 9. Okay, special characters in the sense. Okay, at the rate hash for and all these things. All right. So when you prepare test data, we need to consider only this valid part. Okay, while you prepare test data, we need to consider only valid part. This is a kind of categorization. What is valid and what is invalid in respect of
Valid.
BVA and ECP. So in BVA, most focus is on range, and in ECP, more focus on the valid into the text box. Okay. So whenever you see text boxes, you should apply both BVA and ECP techniques. So in BVA, we have 6 partitions, and in ECP, we have only 2 partitions. One is valid and invalid. Okay, what are the 6 parameters in the BVA is minimum, maximum, minimum minus 1, minimum plus 1, maximum minus 1, maximum plus 1. So while preparing any test data for any text fields, okay, this is I just now we discussed about only for the text fields. Okay, username, something like username, passwords, like this, right? Any text fields. Okay, if we are testing with these requirements, we need to consider both BVA and ECP. Okay, BVA talks about the values, and ECP talks about the BVA talks about the range, and ECP talks about the values. Okay, clear?